Hello, this is John from caveofprogramming.com, who else? And in this tutorial we're going to look at some more operators that you can use in Spring expression language. And I won't give you a complete list here because it'll be tedious for both you and me, but if you want more information on spell, then I'd encourage you to search for something like spell and spring, and then you'll find the Spring source page that covers this stuff in more depth. But I'm just going to show you here kind of a smattering of things that you can do in Spring expression language. So we've got this set speech method on this robot class here, and in my app I'm invoking this speak method on robot, which outputs this speech property, among other things. So I can put some expressions in here that are then going to come out on the command line on the console when I run the program. Let's start with the new operator, because you can actually create new instances of objects in Spring and in Spring expression language. So let's type new, and let's suppose that we want to set this value to the date. We can say new java.util.date. You have to prefix Java classes with a full package name unless they're in java.lang. So let's say new java.util.date.toString. I think that will work. So this is called standard Java, basically, except that it's not. It's Spring expression language, but in this case it looks exactly the same as standard Java. And if I run this, we can see here that we've output the date. So I'll cut this, and I'm just going to paste it in here so that you'll have it as an example if you refer to this source code of the new operator. And let's look at static methods. What if you want to access a static method or a value in spell? Well, what you can't do is, for example, this. So pi is a static constant of the math class, but if I run this, we get an error. There we go. But what you can do if you want to access a static method or property is use the T operator. So I surround the math class with this with round brackets and T in front of it, as if we were calling a method. And after that, I use the .py. I access the static thing that I want to access. And if I run this now, then it works. And we can do quite a lot like this. So we could call, for example, the sign method of the math class. Let's say sign of 5. So again, a static method, and we just surround the class that we want to use, that we want to access static methods from, with this T thing, like that. So if I run this now, then again, we're successfully calling sign. We can nest them as well. So let's say I want to know what the sine of pi over 4 is, which is 45 degrees, and that should be about 0.707 or something like that. Then I can use T in here on math again, and I can say .py, and you can use like a division operator. There's a bunch of mathematics operators that are just what you'd expect in spell. So let's say divide by 4, and save that and run it, and we get the value for sine of a quarter of pi. There's stuff like the exponentiation. You can use like this hat operator. So if I type to the power of 2 in here, then well, this is actually square root 2, so I think we should get 2. No, it's not square root 2. What am I talking about? Let's run it and see. I've forgotten what it is. There we go. So yeah, it's the square root of a half, in fact. So this raises things to a power. There's also stuff like you can use logical operators like or and or not. And the thing is, in spell, these things tend to be spelt out, because certain characters, for example, the less than sign, would conflict with XML tags, and you might want to use this in XML. So there's usually a spelt out version of the corresponding Java operator that you can use here. So we could say, for example, instead of using the less than operator like that, we would use LE, or actually LLT would be less than. So we can say if this is less than 0.8, let's say, which it is, that should be true. And there's stuff like LE, less than or equals, GT greater than or GE greater than or equals, and there's EQ for eq as well. So let's just run this, check this works. Again, it's true. So if you want to compare two things, instead of using equals equals, you can use EQ, eq. And if you're familiar with any similar kind of languages, like for example EL, expression language, which you can use in JSP files, let's say, then you'll recognize a lot of this syntax. It's common to various expression languages. Let's use less than or equal to. And there's a ternary operator as well, so we can say question mark, and if that evaluates to true, if all that stuff evaluates to true, we'll output yes. Otherwise, we'll output no. So again, this is exactly like the ternary operator in Java. So we expect to see no there, yes there, because it is 0.5 is less than 0.8. I think that's pretty much all I'm going to show you for this tutorial. As I say, there's lots more that you can use in there, including a rather cool so-called Elvis operator, which avoids you having to repeat a variable within the ternary operator. But I'll let you explore that for yourself. And if you search for spell and Spring, you'll find the Spring source document that describes all this in depth. But this is just some of the smattering of the more useful things that you can do in spell. So that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I think we're going to move on to looking at database stuff in Spring, which is one of the major pulls, one of the major reasons why people use Spring. And I know you've probably been waiting for database and web stuff. So we're going to move on to that, because if it was just for dependency injection, then you probably wouldn't use Spring. But Spring does have some real paybacks, and we're going to start looking at those shortly. So until next time, happy coding.